We often put ourselves under a tremendous amount of pressure. Pressure to succeed in work, in marriage, with our family, or in competition with others. Pressure can be used to achieve great things. The challenge is finding the limits and knowing when something will break. We didn't do that last week. Last week we put a tremendous amount of pressure on a pot that failed because we pushed it beyond what it was physically able to withstand. This week, we're putting wood frames under pressure to bend them to our will. Hopefully, we can keep from breaking them like we did the pot.
Okay, so now where are we? We need to fix a steam pot. We need to
break a steam pot.
Yeah.
Or my steam pot. You hear those dreaded words, "Where's my pasta steamer? Where is it?" I'll have it back to you in just a minute.
We're not getting enough heat in the box. We only got to 150 after, 15-20 minutes. So that's a problem.
I had the same problem with the other one.
No, the other one had a gasket.
Ah, where's the gasket?
I don't know.
On the top?
But it was trash.
B. Okay.
Yeah. We have two choices. We have stiffer,
Yeah.
and we have rubberier.
I think rubberier, don't you?
Oh, is this how? This is how to make a gasket out of common household items.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
You good there? Not any holes drilled.
In this traditional boat, the frames, or let's call them ribs because most people will think of them as ribs. They look like ribs. They have to be shaped. And so there's a couple ways you can do that. One way is you can laminate thin strips together in a mold, and then you have the frame, right? And that's a very valid way to do it. But the traditional way, because they didn't have epoxy back in 1890, you steam white oak, and particularly green white oak. Within about 45 minutes to an hour, it's quite flexible. Now you have to move quickly, but you bend that around molds that you've pre-made so that they will take on the shape.
All right, we're ready?
Ready.
Yeah,
we're ready.
Okay, what? Can you close this up? I'm gonna take this over here.
You got it.
I got it.
I rounded all four edges, so that's fine.
Okay.
Go for it.
Greg, do you want to put that on? Number 2. You guys ready?
I need a wedge. Give me a wedge.
All right, rock and roll.
When you've got a bunch of people, all of whom are equal, none of us are paid, nobody's in charge, that always is an interesting dynamic, you know. Nobody wants to be pushy and take over. Everybody wants to kind of, you know, get along and still push the project forward at the same time. I mean, I suppose any kind of teamwork in any business where you put coworkers together who are all equal and say you have to work as a team has that interesting, challenging dynamic to it.
That's good.
You don't need to clamp down.
You don't need to clamp it.
Won't hurt. Well, then I'll put a dog on it. Clamp it and I'll put a dog on it. Dog on it?
Okay. So now we got 10 minutes to figure out how we're gonna clamp the next set.
You gonna step up there?
next one.
Okay, should I shorten this? There's a bit of a controversy on what are the absolute essential saws to have for hand saws. I would argue you want a Japanese saw because they're just unbeatable for what they do well. You want a back saw and you want a crosscut saw. A rip saw you can probably live without. But that ought to do it for. Oh, you need a coping saw. There's just there are times you like we're talking about cutting limber holes. This is the kind of saw you can get in there and you can cut that limber hole or make it bigger.
So
go
got
get
some
it.
of these boards have got some knots in them and things that we are.
Yeah, like there. It could crack right there and break. They're most likely to break here, where the curvature, the radius is the smallest. We are not out of water.
Oh, shite.
What?
Look at that. And it's gonna break right there.
It might.
What do you want to bet?
Oh, good.
Pull it towards you?
Yeah.
This should have been the one I did, because then if it broke, I could have had an excuse.
Okay. We've gotten all of them in. Yeah. It has really big bends. One of the pieces, as I was bending it, I thought, oh, this one's gonna break. Okay. There's like a knot right at the break. And it did. It went in. This was great. It was very successful. We finally figured out the steam kettle, the tamale steamer. So yeah, I think it went great.
So what happened to our overhang here?
Shelter.
Yeah.
It got apparently demolished in the storm. It just, I came down, I put, lines into the asphalt and didn't do any good at all. Complete waste of time. You have to figure out where you're going to build the boat. Do you have room? Don't build it in the traditional build it in your basement and you can't get it out. So do you have a place to build it? Do you have the tools? Are you going to be able to dedicate the time to the project so that you don't get stuck with something that is half done and that you have to now dispose of? You got to have perseverance to build a boat. You got to be willing to stick to it. A lot of it is repetitive and tedious, and you really do get quite sick of some of the steps along the way.
Well, today I think we're going to finally make some progress. The steamer issues are solved.
So what we're doing now is basically taking this and converting it into a bunch of 13/16 square pieces of white oak that we then stick in the steam box for 48.5 minutes, and they will come out pliable enough to bend around the molds. The sailboat going through the water has enormous stresses on it. The mast is pushing down. The ballast is pulling down. The framing is what holds all the planking together. That's the integrity of the boat. Okay, so start going. Bring it around, not too fast. Left, go. Carry. Right here. Okay. Yeah.
filming right now. I'm like ready to pass out. I would take like 2 pieces that are good and kerf it. And put it in the box, kerf.
Oh, yeah.
But if we do that, we're gonna be here till like 4:30 and I'm gonna die.
Give it one more try.
Yeah.
And then I will take all the leftovers home
Sure,
and cut them into
sure.
strips. This is the transom.
Right.
So they come up like this and
Right.
they bevel in a compound bevel into the transom.
Right.
So they don't have to be real long pieces.
Okay. That?
Okay.
It's just too.
So what are we gonna do to solve our big issue? We're renting and breaking.
We're gonna laminate. So we're gonna slice up thin pieces of white oak, and when they're thin, they're quite elastic. And so
Sure.
he's gonna take it home,
Oh, yeah,
set
yeah,
up
no.
a mold,
I'll have it
take
next weekend.
that mold, and set it up
well,
such
yeah.
that he can
Along
clamp
with the
and
7 other
glue,
projects I've
5
gonna
or
do this
6
week.
strips.
But other than that,
All at the same time. It never springs back. Epoxy holds it into place, and that'll work just fine.
Yeah, she's breaking. Just doesn't want to make that far of a turn, does it?
No, it doesn't.
It's pretty amazing, though.
Yeah. Yeah, they all break.
They all break at that level. It's just.
First of all, you can do it. If you can read a book, you can get this done, okay? It's just going through those steps. And a lot of the plans are really well narrated with a book or a workbook on how to do it. I would also recommend that you do it with a friend. That'll build your friendship like you can't believe,
We ended up breaking a few frames today when we pushed them past the limit of what they're able to do. Fortunately, there's more than one way to make a boat. More than one way to curve the wood needed to create the frames on which the rest of the boat will be built. Likewise, there is more than one way to succeed in life. And if I want to enjoy the success that I hope to one day achieve, then I need to recognize my own breaking point.